All right, guys. Good to see you. It's good to be back. Get my glasses on. All right. I want to talk about a question. I'm just asking a question and showing some Bible verses today. It's saved. Is it past tense, future tense, or present tense? I just want to read a list of passages and talk about them a little bit. I don't know how long this is going to go. But if you guys watched my introduction video, I talked about how when I was raised in the church and I always had questions. And in order to get a fresh, clear perspective on what it means to be saved, I went and read the Gospels over and over again until I got an idea of what I thought Jesus was saying without all the distractions of the rest of the New Testament, just what Jesus had to say. And I came away with a little bit different picture than what I grew up believing. And the answer is that trust in him and honor him and have faith in him, do follow his commands, and at the end, if you endure to the end, you shall be saved. So I was always taught that salvation is a past tense action, that everything that we've done, past, present, and future, is already taken care of by the blood. Now, I believe that atonement covers all the sins of his believers, but I believe that salvation. Well, let's read the passages. I'm going to start out with. Now, these passages are the same: Mark 13:13, Matthew 24:13, and Matthew 10:22. So I'm just going to read the passage, and then, because it's the same in all three of them, or close to the same. It says, "You should be hated by all for my name's sake, but he who endures to the end shall be saved." Now, I've seen posts that talks about the preservation of the saints, and I believe in the preservation of the saints, but not in the same way that the Calvinists do. I believe, if you watch my video on predestination versus choice, I believe it's a matter of perspective. I believe if you don't know what I mean by that, I think you should go back and watch that video, because he already knows what's going to happen. He's outside of time. God is. And so from his perspective, the ones who he's called will be conformed to the image of the Son. It's a done deal because he's looking at it as a done deal. Well, we're not God. And I think so many times we, as Christians, put ourselves and act and speak as if we have God's perspective, and that we assume, because of our beliefs and where we stand right now, that we know where we end up. All right. Now, Hebrews 10:36 through 39. If you have indeed, for you do have need of endurance, that after you've done the will of God, you may receive the promise. Well, why is that the case if you're saved past tense and nothing you can do can change that? For yet a little while, and he is coming and will not tarry. Now the just shall live by faith. And if anyone draws back, my soul has no pleasure in him. Now we are taught that once you're saved, that's it. You're done. But I think that's from God's perspective. He knows those who are going to be saved, knows those who are going to endure to the end, And we're men, and we're stuck on a linear time frame, and we have real choices in front of us every day. And we are responsible for those actions. That's why God calls us to act in certain ways and expects that we do it, not because we're automatons and He has already programmed us and we just do what our programming says, but He has given us the ability to make choices. But from His perspective, all the choices have already been made. Now, but we are not those who draw back to perdition, but those who believe to the saving of the soul. So the contrast is, if you draw back, you are destroyed or damned, either one, depending on your perspective on eternal suffering. Now, let's look at what Peter has to say. Peter talks about Paul's teachings, and he's making it clear that Paul's teaching can be misconstrued easily. Now, consider the long-living of our Lord is salvation. Also, our beloved brother Paul, who according to the wisdom given to him has written to you, also in his epistle, speaking to them of things which are some things hard to understand, which untaught and unstable men twist to their own destruction, as they do the rest of the Grapha, the writings or scriptures. Now, even Paul says, therefore, my beloved, as you've always obeyed, not in my presence, Philippians 2:12, but now more so in my eminence, work out your salvation in fear and trembling. If you have to work out your salvation in fear and trembling, you have fear. If you know for a fact that whatever you do doesn't matter, and that your actions don't have consequences, and your salvation is not dependent upon your actions, there's no reason to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. For 1 Peter 1:5, it says, who are kept by the power of God through faith for salvation that is ready to be revealed in the last time. So this is where I've seen that the salvation, from God's perspective, is done. It's completed because He's outside of time. But from our perspective, we haven't seen it yet. And so I want to talk about what Jesus says for the two destinations of people who come before Him at the end. And I'll show that it's in the end. So this is when we're saved, when we enter into the joy of our Lord. Matthew 7:21 through 23. Now, not everyone who says, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven. Okay. So the understanding of whoever calls upon the name of the Lord shall be saved needs to be a little bit different from the common understanding. If Christ says, if He's our Messiah, and He says, not everyone who calls on my name shall enter the kingdom of heaven. So we have to reconcile those two and not dismiss the words of the Messiah, Yeshua. But he who does the will of the Father in heaven. For many will say to me in that day, a specific time when we are being judged, Lord, now, okay, so when they come before Him, they're going to say these things. They're going to say, I acquit myself. I deserve to go into your rest. He says, Lord, Lord, have I not prophesied in your name? Cast out demons in your name? done many wonders in your name, and then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. So these people who in their mind, they think they're saved. Christ is the judge, and he determines whether or not he knew them or not, because they think they did. They called upon his name, and he said I don't know you. That's what it says. I'm sorry you don't like it. Give me your 5 points, but I want to take the words of Christ. And again, the other side is after the parable of the good and faithful servant. Is his Lord says to him after he has been faithful, well done, good, faithful doulos, or servant or slave. You've been faithful over a few things. I will make you a ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Luke 19:17, Matthew 25:23, and Matthew 25:21. So Christ is presenting a picture that's different from what we are taught in Bible class and in Billy Graham Crusade. I got notes on another one that I want to do, and it talks about the idea that as Christians, our actions have no consequences, and that we can't presume upon God to just save us because we've done one action in the past or believed one thing in the past. So that's the idea of it's wormwood. Well, that has connotations of Revelation, but that's not what I'm talking about. It has a lot of Old Testament meanings that clearly shows that the idea is tied to thinking everything's going to be okay and God's not going to judge you. So I'm going to put this up, but I'm not sharing this around. So if you watch this, please share it yourself, because I'm trying not to harm the weaker brethren, because I got a lot of people around me who would be offended by this video. So I'm going to post it, but not share it on my own personal page.